How can anyone, whether they want to work in a language school or privately from their own laptop anywhere in the world, create a rewarding and impactful career teaching English as a second language, even if they are just starting out or have no teaching experience or ability? Hi, my name is Lynette Kim, and here on the TESOL Talk podcast, I aim to answer that very question.
I talk with some people who are already tutoring English as a second language. This is something that they've put together themselves, and perhaps, through their community or their group of friends or university or wherever, they've met foreign students who need help, and so they've started tutoring them, and they're doing a really good job enjoying the lessons with these students and just working through materials that students might be already studying as part of their English courses. And so they're using that material, or they've looked up some materials online or gotten hold of some ESL books, and they're using those. And these types of people say to me, why would I need to do a TESOL course? I'm already tutoring. I don't need it. Of what benefit could it possibly be? And what I like to say to these people, and what I do say, is that yes, it's great you've gotten to where you are and you've realized this is something that you're enjoying and it feels like a calling to you, and you've got yourself organized. You've even probably got some course book or some work that you're doing with these students, which is fantastic. It's a foot in the door, absolutely. But where are you going to take it from here? And how do you know that what you're doing, how are you sure that this is going to be a progressive learning experience for your students? And not just that, because you can use the course books to do that, go from each level one after the other. But how do you know that you're adding value? How do you know that you're actually enhancing the second language acquisition of your students, that and see the signs that where they're struggling or where they need help? You might be sensing them automatically, but not knowing how to deal with them. And the reason I know this is because I actually started in the ESL industry backwards myself. So I've mentioned before in videos, the first time I officially taught ESL was when I was overseas, and my husband and the owner of a school basically shoved me into a classroom of 12 learners and said, here you go. And I wasn't prepared. I had nothing. I just had to ad-lib the entire lesson, which I did because the students looked at me and I didn't want to let them down. And I came away from that going, oh my God, I loved it, but oh my God, I got to figure out what to do here. So I started without the qualifications and without the training. And I worked from very hard to figure out what I could do. And I was always looking for better materials, always looking for information to know that I was following the right thing. Now, I was offered a job, so I didn't have to go looking for students. But if you're tutoring, you also have to think about getting more students. And because, students don't study forever, hopefully not, or you're not doing your job. But anyway, so word of mouth is big. So if you're doing a great job, your students will tell other students about you, and you can gain more students that way. And that works well if you know what you're doing, and students can really see their progress when they're studying with you. But that's not always the case, and some students need more or different things than others. So are you really going to hit the learner needs for all learners without training? And that's why a TESOL course is so important, because it will take you through and understand the processes in the brain of the learners, so that second language acquisition process, so you can see things that students are actually doing in the classroom. When they're having false starts, when they're like, they do these sorts of things, and when they're monitoring themselves and they're repeating a lot or they're hesitating a lot, all this sort of stuff, what that means, and how to help them because you've done a TESOL course and you have a full understanding. Now, when I was first teaching, I didn't know. I could see it, but I didn't know what it was in terms of understanding how to help students get past it. I just recognized that it was happening. It was an issue and they needed to get past it, but I didn't have the training or the skills to work with that. So I just did as best as I could. So coming after teaching overseas and coming home, I'm like, I need training. I want to understand this better. And when I did finally do my first lot of TESOL training, a lot of what I was learning, because I'd been tutoring already, I'm going, that's what that's called. Oh, that's why you do that. And this is how you do it better. Or I recognized a lot of things that I'd figured out for myself and were doing, but I just didn't understand what they were termed, but also how to enhance that and how to work with that better and how to connect that with another aspect of the ESL teaching experience to improve learning for my students. And that's the course actually connected all those dots for me and made me a much better teacher. So, it goes even further from that. Like, hi, it's Lynn here. I hope you're enjoying this episode of TESOL Talk. I just want to let you know that if you want to teach English as a second language, then the best way to get started is by getting your TESOL certification. Of course, my recommendation for the best TESOL course is a TESOL Australia course because I wrote those. I wrote them because there are so many important things I felt were missing in TESOL courses that were on offer. So I put everything in that I wish I had been taught when I was first starting out. If you have any questions or if you need someone to help you figure out a plan to create a rewarding and impactful career teaching English as a second language, simply go to our website, tesolau.com. That's TESOLAU.com and fill in the form to get professional advice on your exact situation. Also, if you ask for the TESOL Talk discount, we will give you an extra $100 off the course of your choice. Now let's get straight back to the episode. Looking at that the progression of your students and figuring out their learner needs, you learn a lot more about how to transform the lives of your students in the learning classroom, how to help them to become independent learners. I certainly didn't know when I first started teaching that student talk time was 80% and teacher talk time was 20%. I made the cardinal sin of that being at least 50-50, simply because I didn't know what I was doing and I was, nervous and I was starting out and I wanted to do a good job, but felt a lack. So I was always trying to use personality and use other means to almost entertain students into learning, if you will. And that's exhausting. And a lot of teachers burn out because they feel they have to be entertainers rather than facilitators. And that's why you need really good training. You need to make sure if you're doing a TESOL course that it is going to train you in things like transformational leadership in the ESL classroom and enhancing independent learning and second language acquisition. You need to have a good understanding of these concepts. Yes, lesson planning is great. Yes, TESOL methodology is great, all these things. But with today's resources, you can get by with a lot of that because a lot of the published resources from very good sources like Oxford and Pearson, they cover these things in the way the course books and that you teach are written. So where you come in as the ESL teacher is more in those underlying aspects of good teaching skills and qualities. So the other thing too is, as I mentioned, when you're teaching, word of mouth gets you more students. But do you know how to market yourself at no cost online and find students in your area and also online students to teach? Do you know how to expand your teaching so that you can have lots of students and lots of classes? And this is something that our TESOL courses cover very well. You'll learn about different places where students are online, where to find them, how to contact them. So you can't just go and contact random people without a reason, but the course is actually going to go through and tell you how to do this, how to get directly in contact, and how to do that in a meaningful way that they're going to appreciate. And then it's going to lead them to want to find out about you and what you offer. So all of this is covered in the course. And if you want to make this how you earn your living or a career pathway, you certainly want training on how to do that. And for those that want to take it even further, we have the International TESOL Diploma, which covers a whole range of not just ESL teaching, but IELTS teaching. And then it goes on with a whole unit that's adapted for small business, how to set up your own ESL teaching business. And so you can take it beyond you being the sole teacher, but being able to hire other teachers and running classes, whether they're online or face-to-face or overseas, and developing your teaching to that level where you are now becoming known for a certain teaching style, and students are seeking you out. And we have graduates who've done very well in that, and it's amazing to see their success, and it's wonderful because that's what we're all about. We want that outcome for our graduates. So yes, if you're tutoring and you've got students and you're enjoying it and your students are enjoying the classes, fantastic, and well done. Absolutely well done that you've gotten yourself going, and that's half of the battle sometimes, is getting started. But where to go from here? You need to look at where you're going to go from here, how you're going to go there to that position, and also how to become an impactful teacher that does meet the needs of students, and that teaching isn't a burden to you, that you're not burning yourself out, you're not relying on the wrong things to keep those lessons going and motivational for students, so that you can actually expand what you're doing to the level that you want and even beyond.